Welcome back, everyone. From Mentor English, myself, motivational speaker, leadership business coach, master trainer, language trainer, blogger, novelist, Professor MA Raza. Today, the topic is that we are going to start the summary of David Copperfield. And before starting thy topic, I would like to tell you that we have uploaded already the summaries of The Mill on the Floss, the summary of Tess Willie, the summary of Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities, the summary of Wuthering Heights, the summary of uh, Joseph Andrew, also available on this channel. And I hope that you will definitely subscribe and hit the bell icon. So let's do it. Let's get started. Summary of David Copperfield. The novel consists of 64 chapters and shows David Copperfield's coming of age. David Copperfield is the narrator, and on many occasions in the novel, one can identify him with his creator Charles Dickens. The novel opens at Blunderstone Rockery, the house bought by late Mr. Copperfield, who died. Pardon me, who died 6 months ago. It is a cold day in March, and Clara Copperfield, the pretty little widow who is expecting a child, is surprisingly visiting by her deceased husband's aunt, Mrs. Betsy. The effect of the effect of Miss Betsy's uh, inquisitive conversation and harsh attitude on the ailing young woman compels her to prematurely give birth to the child, who is named David Copperfield. He turns out as let me make it clear that he was a premature child. Prematurely mean the complete 9 months for the particular birth time or birth period was not given to the child due to harsh reality and due to harsh criticism of the locality or the society or the community or the county. That would be that we will discuss in themes, inshallah. Copperfield, he turns out as a child of close observation and then a man of a strong memory of his childhood. David Copperfield and his mother live together with a servant woman, Pigote, on an income of £105. Dear students and dear watcher and dear subscriber and dear teachers, here I got a notion that the movie of the Hollywood movie Perfume is also based. If you want to understand that what type of the child David Copperfield was, so you can watch the first 20 or 30 minutes of the movie Perfume, and there is a child that was not a premature birth, but that was also immature birth, or according to the society or county, and the child sniff and get all type of smells, like the smell of fish, like the smell of the garbage of fish, like the smell of different waters, like the smell of different men, like the smell of different suite of men or a woman. So that is a particular part, and that can be imagined while watching that David Copperfield was also a strong memory in that case. Same as the child of the movie Perfume have the special smelling senses, or the special senses for smells and fragrances, and so that was the cause of the movie of Perfume. But at the end, the end is according to the Hollywood movies, as you know that there is the sexual elements of is a brilliant part of Hollywood, that Hollywood cashed the sexual elements and got the viewership. So you can skip that. But the last or final scene of the perfume, that is also the complete scene or a complete sense of 2 or 3 hours movie. So that was just only that concept from I've got from or similarize as to David Copperfield's strong memory only. And don't try to depict, or don't try to put all the theme of the movie Perfume into it. So be careful. I just give you the notion, I just give you the point to understand why a person, why a child, or why a baby have very strong memory. So in that case, I was giving you that example. David Copperfield and his mother lived together with a servant woman Pegotty on an income of £105 a year. But then the peaceful and calm life of little David Copperfield begins to change. His mother marries a gentleman with beautiful black hair and whiskers, Mrs. Edward Murdstone, who turns out to be cleverer and cold and redirects the life of the little boy. Little David Copperfield goes to visit his servant Pegotty's family, Yarmouth. They live in a they live in a boat which looks like Aladdin's palace to the little little boy, who reads books like the Arabian Night, that is in Arabic it would be the stories of Alif Lala. Laila called night in Arabic language, and Alif called 1000. So 1000 stories of nights. In his visit to Yarmouth, David Copperfield gets introduced to Pegotty's brother and his orphan nephew and niece, Ham and little Emily, who he has adopted. However, immediately after his return from the pleasant trip of Yarmouth, David Copperfield receives the news of his mother's marriage with Mr. Murdstone, and he realizes how the world has altered for him. I rambled downstairs to find anything that was itself so altered. It all seems thus begin a new phase of David Copperfield's life under the supervision of his stepfather and his sister, Miss Jane Murdstone, who soon joins them. Miss Murdstone's appearance terrifies young David Copperfield, who keenly observed the gloomy looking lady. He finds her dark and with heavy eyebrows. Besides, he is scared of her possessions, including her two uncompromising hard black boxes and her hard steel purse, which hung upon her arm by a heavy chain. The Murdstone soon the Murdstones soon take control of the house, and David's mother's role in housekeeping is reduced. She is often reprimanded by her husband and sisters-in-law about her poor upbringing of her only son. They believes in firmness, which turned out to be tyranny for David. His mother regularly teaches him, but the sight of the Murdstone scares the life out of him. One day, when he is getting his lesson from his mother, the arrival of Mr. Murdstone makes him feel that the words in his mind are all sliding away, and he begins to stammer, while his stepfather advises his mother be firm with the boy. David's mother is completely helpless and unable to defend her son. In order to punish David, Mr. Murdstone keeps him confined in his room for 5 days, and then sends him away so that he becomes a better boy. He is sent to London to study at Salem House. Mr. Mel, his schoolmaster, is sent to bring David to Salem House. David and Mr. Mel stop on the way to school at an alum house in a busy and impoverished part of the city, where they visit a poor old woman who cooks and serves them a meal. She is Mr. Mal's mother. On arriving at Salem House, where David Copperfield has to stay and study, he finds that all about it was so quiet because it was holiday time, so all students are away. He, however, soon receives a shock when he is made to bear a placard on his back which says, "Take care of him." He bites its done at the instructions given by Mr. Murdstone to the administration of the school. David expresses his distress about this act of humiliation. "What I suffered from this placard nobody can imagine." Besides David's meeting with Mr. Crackle, the headmasters of the school also terrorize him because he pinches his ear and threatens to beat him. Soon the boys are back and they make fun of David Copperfield. However, when James Steerforth arrives, things begin to change for David. Steerforth is a good-looking, clever, and rich boy who is about 6 years old than David, and thus become his patron. They strike a friendship because David is impressed by Steerforth, who, on the contrary, loves to hear the stories little David tells. David unintentionally reveals before Steerforth a secret about the schoolmaster, Mr. Mel's mother. When Mel and Steerforth quarrel, the later uses the information he has received from David to inform the headmaster, Mr. Creakle, about the poor mother of his opponent who lives in an alum house. This gives Creakle an excuse to dismiss Mel. Besides, Steerforth, David also, here is a composing mistake. So understand it. Steerforth, David also makes another friend called Tommy Treadles, a plump boy who loves drawing skeletons. He often gets punished like David and other boys because Mr. Keckle is a strict master and frequently punished his students. David recalls a surprise visit by Mr. Peggotty and Ham, two Yarmouth boatmen, very kind, good people who come to see him at school and bring gifts of lobsters, crab, and shrimp. David is astonished and pleased to meet them. After 1 year, he get an opportunity to visit home and meet his mother, whom he finds quite changed. She nurses her infant son, and David observes that she has become very thin and weak. But it is her manner which became anxious and fluttered and worries him. David, his mother, and Peggotty spend a pleasant afternoon because the Murdstones are away. But with the return of Murdstones, David finds finds it hard to spend. Here is again composing mistake. There is the word it. finds it, and that is only tea here. Hard to spend time at home and desires to go back to school. He returns to school, and after 2 months, on the morning of his birthday, he receives the news of his mother's death. He is immediately sent home, and he realized that he would never returns to Salem House. At home, David is only consoled by Pigoti, and she takes him to Yarmouth. David is comfortable with Pigoti's family and is surprised to find Mr. Pigoti and Ham talking and admiring Steerforth, while Emily hears them with the deepest attention. She seems impressed by this young man. Soon David returns home and experienced a solitary conditions since his mother and Pigoti are no more there. To love him, care for him, he is deprived of education and attention, and coldly neglected for months, and finally sent to London to work at Murdstone and Grinby's warehouse, where along with other boys he washes, puts labels and corks, and finally seals the wines bottles. He receives a salary of 6 shillings a week and stays with Micawbers, a poor family whose only visitors are creditors. David helps the Micawbers by selling his mother's pearl necklace and bracelets, and also a set of coral, but he fails to dissipate their old difficulties. Mr. Micawber's gets imprisoned for not paying his debts, and where released, he along with his family leaves London in order to avoid creditors. Once Micawbers are gone, David decided to find his only living relative, Miss Betsy Trotwood, and go to her. Pigoti informs him that his aunt lives near the city of Dover, and also sends him a half guinea to pay his fare. However, David is robbed on the way and loses his money. He sells his waistcoat and jacket to raise money, sleeps on haystacks at night, and walks to his destination very stiff and sore of foot. After 6 days, he finally reaches his aunt's cottage, and she receives this shabby little boy who is hungry, thirsty, and worn out by crying, no boys here. However, when David introduces himself, she accepts him with little difficulty, for after consulting a family friend, Mr. Dick, who suggests she should accommodate him. So finally, David is no more houseless. His His aunt, however, writes about his arrival to Mr. Murdstone, who arrives with his sister to meet Aunt Betsy. The Murdstone arrives on donkeys, which Aunt Betsy hates, and they receive an unfriendly welcome. Mr. Murdstone expresses his intention to take him away, at which David pleads his aunt to protect him, and she thereby agrees to do so. She turns the Murdstone out of her house, refusing to hand over David to them, and thus he begins his new life with a new name, Trot, which his aunt uses for addressing him. She immediately after adopting David arranges for his education and takes him to Mr. Wickfield, who provides him lodging while he attends the school run by Dr. Strong. While living with Mr. Wickfield, David meets two people who plays significant roles in his life. One is Mr. Wickfield's daughter and his little housekeeper, Agnes, and the other is another tenant, Uriah Heep. So here is the ending of the summary, and the next we will discuss characterization in David Copperfield. Before going to further, I would like to read some lines of this particular topic. David Copperfield is an intelligent child who, though fatherless, is brought up in a loving and comfortable environment at home, where he gets abundant affection from his mother and nurse Pigotty. He blossoms when treated with love, and withers away if neglected and despised. He is observant and has a sharp memory, as we has discussed in the start of the summary. Under the guidance of his mother, he learns well, but once terrifies by his stepfather, his mind goes blank. He is not a mischievous child and quickly makes friends. He loves reading, and when maltreated by his stepfather, seeks refuge in the world of books left by his deceased father. So I want to basically why I want to uh, spoken these lines, or speak these lines, because these are quietly related to the main theme of the strong memory of David Copperfield. Because if you have a strong memory need more knowledge, strong memory need more books, strong memory need more enthusiastic activities or creativities or inquiries. Because if you have a sharp mind, if you have a sharp memory, if you have a strong memory, then you will be able to do or to raise more questions, and to search more things, and to research more things, and to justify more things, and to understand more and more and more. So that was the particular point of view. For these reason, I want to taught you these particular lines. So let me go now. And before going, I would like to request you that subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if any one of your relative is searching for Urdu lectures, then must subscribe our Urdu channel, Murshid Urdu, Professor MA Raza. And for Islamic services or Diniyat services, we have a channel Jame Darulum Sheikhul Islam. So I would like to request you that must subscribe and hit the bell icon. Let me go now and say with me, do something more for humanity, do something more for knowledge and practices, and have a good day. And thanks for your thanks that you have tuned Professor M. Raza.